Okay, good evening, everybody. My name is Ryan Amato, Recreational Program Supervisor with the City of Falls Church Recreation and Parks Department. And on behalf of the entire Recreation and Parks Department, I'd like to welcome you to our parent orientation for the Rec Connect Virtual Learning Center. And thank you for taking the time to join us tonight and also for enrolling your children in the program. Just a quick overview of how tonight's going to go. I'm going to allow the rest of the staff to introduce themselves as well. And then we'll go through a quick overview of the program. The best way to do that is I'll share my screen with the handbook. We'll kind of go through it, not word for word, but section by section, hit some of the highlights. If you have any questions about that particular section, feel free to put them in the chat and we can answer them as we go. And then also at the end, we'll have a chance to open it up for any questions, maybe things we missed or weren't covered. Hopefully it should not take longer than about 45 minutes to an hour, but we're certainly here as long as you need us to answer all of the questions you might have. So, as I mentioned, my name is Ryan Amato. I'm a Recreation Program Supervisor with the department. Primarily, I'm in charge of camps and youth sport programming, but this fall, this has been given to me to work with, along with my colleague, Scarlett Williams, and we'll be overseeing the program. So I'll go ahead and let Scarlett introduce herself. You might be on mute there, Scarlett.
Thank you. All right, my name is Scarlett Williams. I am the Special Events Program Supervisor as well as the Preschool Director. So I will be joining Ryan. You've probably seen emails from either one of us, and feel free to reach out if you ever have any questions. Feel free to reach out to either one of us. Thanks for joining us.
Okay, and now I'd like some of our staff that's joined us here tonight that are going to be serving as our in-classroom supervisors. They're going to be primarily the ones taking care of your kids throughout the day, managing the program's day-to-day operations. So we will go ahead and let them introduce themselves. I'm just going to run down my list in the order they appear here. So when I call your name, feel free to turn your screen on, unmute yourself, introduce yourself to the parents. First up, I have CJ.
Hello, everyone. My name is CJ Jackson. I am a rec leader at the Falls Church Community Center. I'm also a PED adjunct professor at Northern Virginia Community College and the campus recreation director, and I'm looking forward to working with your kids this semester.
All right, thank you. Next up, we have Zoila.
Okay. My name is Zoila, and I'm going to working with the education part and supervise the children is the only way I want to say.
All right, thank you. Next up, we have Chaz.
Hi, I'm Chaz. I'm going to be working with the 3rd to 5th grade group this year. I'm a junior at George Mason University. I'm studying elementary education. I've spent the past 3 years working at a preschool as a lead teacher for preschoolers and an aftercare homework room. And I'm really looking forward to getting to know all of you and getting to know all your children.
Next up, we have PDAD.
Hi, Piedad Freden. I have been working at the preschool program for almost over a year. I'm looking forward to start working again with the children.
Okay. And last but not least here with us tonight is Taylor. Taylor?
Hi, I'm Taylor Ford. I've been working for the City of Falls Church since 2013. I started as a camp counselor, and now I am a full-time staff person, a recreation specialist, primarily working with our teen and camp programming.
All right, thank you. And we do have a couple of staff members unable to join us tonight. Also working with the program this year will be Corey Janicelli, who is a recreation specialist with the department. She primarily manages the farmhouse here in Falls Church, if you're familiar with that. She'll be helping us out. We also have Isabella Betancourt. She is a junior, I believe a junior, with Northern Virginia Community College. She's also a summer camp counselor with us. She worked this most recent summer with us and will be continuing on with this program as well. And we have Kristen Underwood, who is a young lady with a lot of recreational experience with the City of Manassas Park, with their community center, and also a substitute teacher in their school system. So they will also be helping us out, but are unable to join us tonight. So that is the day-to-day recreation staff that will be helping us with the program. I look forward to meeting you. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and jump into some things here. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Bear with me just a moment. Okay, hopefully you're seeing the parent handbook there on your screen. You scroll through it. Before we jump into this, let me just say that this program is brand new to us. Obviously, uncharted waters here. We've never done anything like this before, just as I'm sure you as parents have never overseen virtual learning for your children before, and they, other than this spring, have had very limited experience with virtual learning. So kind of a new foray into this for all of us. We're going to do our best to provide as quality as an experience as possible. But you know, there may be some changes that come along down as we go along, things we find out we can do better, differently, and we just ask for your flexibility as we go through that. And you know, we're sort of at the mercy of the schools here. As they change, we'll have to change and adapt as well. So we'll take our guidance from them. We have contacts there. We work very closely with them. Scarlett has a lot of experience at being previously with the school system before coming over to join us. So we're going to use all those contacts to keep as in close communication as we can to make sure we're operating as smoothly as possible. Okay, so that kind of covers our, you know, obviously our mission program mission is to provide a quality experience to your children, a safe learning environment. General information, the program begins next Tuesday, September 8th, and is now currently scheduled to run through the first quarter of school, October 30th. If virtual learning is expanded beyond that by the City of Falls Church schools, we will continue our program as well. But for right now, we're just through the 30th. The program runs Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. It only operates Monday through Friday on days where there is school scheduled. So teacher work days, holidays, which really I don't believe there are any holidays scheduled between now and October 30th, other than Labor Day, which is before our program begins. So we should be okay there. But if we do go beyond October 30th, just keep in mind Thanksgiving, things like that, we will not hold the program. We do ask your children dropped off no later than 8:45 a.m. That allows us time to go through our health check, which I'll discuss in a minute, and make sure they're in the classroom, settled in, ready to go for their learning that begins at 9 a.m. If you've elected to use the school bus system, which we'll talk about a little bit later as well, they will be dropped off by that time. Program takes place here at the Falls Church Community Center. There you see our address, 223 Little Falls Street. The program is for kindergarten through 5th grade. You may be aware we originally offered it kindergarten through 8th grade. There just was not a demand in 6th to 8th grade, but there was a stronger demand at the lower ages, so we were able to accommodate more students by canceling out the 6th to 8th grade portion. There you see our phone numbers and emails if you need to reach out for that. Children in the program will be required to come to the program every day, except in the case of illness, no refunds for absences. So if you decide we're going to work from home today, not come in, you do not get prorated for that day. If you decide to cancel midway through the program, no refunds there either. Additionally, if you are not attending the program regularly, if you're using it more as a as-needed basis, that's not the intention of this program. You may be asked to give up your spot so that folks that really do need the program can take it. So please be aware you are expected to be here every day, Monday through Friday for the program. Obviously, you're here for our informational session. Again, our staff we put together, well-trained, experienced. They've gone through a number of different safety and trainings and have a lot of experience. There'll be 2 of our staff in each classroom. Also, the City of Falls Church has City of Falls Church Public Schools has some employees that are looking to continue their work. So they have loaned employees to us as well. We will have 1 City of Falls Church employee assisting our staff in each classroom as well. So there'll be 3 employees staffing each classroom. And there you see our leadership team. You've met our on-site team and the majority of them. Again, our job is to provide a safe environment for your children to do their virtual learning. We will provide recreational activities during breaks throughout the day or on days where they have half-day attendance. Other than that, though, they are expected to do their virtual learning as assigned to them by their teachers, by their school. So they will need to bring their learning device, their school-issued laptop. They'll also need to bring headphones and chargers so they can keep their computer charged up, and also they can wear the headphones to listen to their virtual learning without disrupting the students around them. The laptop is only used for virtual learning. So when they're not engaged in actual classroom learning, we'll be doing other recreational activities with them off of the computer. And they should not also be using their computer during learning times for anything but the learning. So our staff will monitor that as well. We do have the right to have access to the information on the child's laptop, confiscate and report anything that's deemed inappropriate. Any damages to the laptop are the responsibility of the children and you as parents, guardians. We have asked you and you have supplied us the login credentials for their school learning. So that is very valuable so we can help them get logged on. So we appreciate that. Again, we will monitor the virtual learning. If we see your child is struggling, not really understanding, grasping material, our staff, while they are great trained in child care, they are not particularly educators at the same level as your child's teachers. Some are, some are not. But our job is not to do any teaching. We'll help to the extent we can, minor assistance here and there. But if we really see that your child is struggling to focus, to pay attention, to grasp the material, we're going to relay that to you as parents, guardians, and the expectation is that you will then contact their teachers and work that out between yourselves. However that's going, just as you would if they were in a classroom. If you realize your child is struggling, you would take it up with the teacher directly. We'll help any way we can facilitate that conversation, but we will not really have contact with the individual teachers, and we will not provide progress updates to the teachers on your child and vice versa. That is a parent-teacher conversation that needs to take place. Again, talk about we'll operate the duration of the City of Falls Church virtual learning. When that stops, our program will stop. When it continues, our program will continue. If there's any health and wellness policy procedures that are modified, we will modify as we receive additional guidance from the CDC, Virginia's Governor's Office, Fairfax County Health Department, and Fairfax City officials. So the way we're operating now is currently in compliance with all of that. If that were to change, we will change with it and let you know. Please understand if there is any kind of COVID exposure, we do need to know about that. You are required to report that to us. And then we in turn are required to report that to the Fairfax County Health Department. When reporting to the health department, you cannot remain anonymous. Obviously, that has to be given to the health department. However, to the other students and families in the program, while we will alert them that there has been a COVID exposure and they need to get themselves checked and follow whatever guidance we get from the Fairfax County Health Department, your child's name will remain anonymous to the other students and families in the program. But we do have to release that name to the Fairfax County Health Department. Any changes that come along, whether they be health-based, program-based, whatever, we'll give them to you in a timely manner. Committed to maintaining safety protocols. You can see where we got all of our guidance from there in terms of how we devised our safety protocols in times of COVID. And again, as these things change or we receive updates to them, we will change as necessary. So drop off, please do not drop off any earlier than 8:30 as staff is not quite ready to receive your child at that time. And again, no later than 8:45, so they do have time to get checked in. Please park in the Falls Church Community Center parking lot. Then you will check in at the front door of the community center. There will be 3 tables with a plexiglass divider for safety. Each group will have their own table with their, what we'll have is one staff member will be at that table for the check-in. The other staff member will be inside the building in the child's classroom. So once your child passes their health inspection, they will proceed into the building and be met by their classroom instructor who will get them set up in the classroom. So you'll park in the parking lot, you'll come over to the front entrance, you'll find your appropriate age table to check in. There'll be hand sanitizer there for your child to hand sanitize their hands. There will be a daily temperature check. This it can be done. The preference is that you will take your child's temperature at home prior to leaving for the day to make sure they don't have a fever of 100.3 or higher. If it's under 100.3, bring them on down. At check-in, we'll have a waiver, for lack of a better word, that you will sign. It says that you took your child's temperature that day. They do not have a fever of 100.3, a temperature of 100.3 or higher, that they have not been given any medication in the last 12 hours, which would reduce their temperature, that they do not have any coughing or difficulty breathing, and also that they have not been exposed to anyone in their household with known COVID in the last 14 days. So you'll sign that each day. That's the first part of the health check. The second part of the health check is our staff will conduct a visual audible check. They'll look at your child's eyes, make sure they're not watering, bloodshot. They'll take a look at their face, make sure it's not flushed, sweaty, signs of fever. They'll ask a question like how they're doing, excited for school, just to get a little answer so we can hear their voice, make sure it's not raspy, any wheezing, if there's not uncontrollable, consistent coughing or sneezing. So they check for that. Assuming they do not have any signs there and you've signed the waiver that there's no fever, no medication given, et cetera, they are permitted to go into the building. If you big hurry. Sometimes it happens, you rush out the door, you don't have a chance to take their temperature. Our staff can take their temperature, and once it's at the proper level, you can sign the waiver. If they do have a fever, have been exposed to COVID, or do not pass the visual check, they will not be permitted to come in that day, and they will have to go home for the day and receive medical clearance to return. Again, once they clear the medical check, they'll go into the building, proceed, either the staff or the other Fairfax County staff person will escort them to the room where the third person is there getting them ready to set up. So I don't want to get ahead of myself here. So in the classroom, we have 6-foot-long tables. A child will be seated at each end of that table, so they're 6 feet apart, and the tables themselves are 6 feet apart in width, so they'll have their social distancing. So they'll get to their assigned seat. There'll be a name plate there for them. They'll maintain the same seat throughout the duration of the program. They'll sit down at their seat. They'll hook their computer up. They'll get logged in. Our staff will assist if they need to, and then they'll begin their day of learning. And we'll go through the day a little bit more, but let's just skip here ahead of pickup procedures, which take place at 4 o'clock when the day ends. Please do not arrive any later than 4:15. Your child will wash their hands before leaving the classroom. We ask that you again park in the Falls Church Community Center parking lot. Come on up to that table where you checked them at the beginning of the day. We'll now do checkout. You will need to show your identification. Our staff member will confirm the ID, that you are the person with the ID, and also that you are listed as a person who can pick up your child. Again, parents and guardians, and anybody listed on the emergency form. So if there's anybody that you might be picking up your child that you did not list on the emergency form, you'll need to email us confirmation of that person that can be added to the list for pickup. So again, the person with the ID, they need to have identification. They need to be listed on the pickup list. If someone is coming who is not listed, we will have to call you and receive confirmation that that person is cleared before we can release your child to them. But again, ID is checked. They're on the list. That staff member will radio into the classroom to their other staff members that, Susie, Johnny, whoever's mom, dad, so-and-so is here to pick up them. They'll then be escorted from the classroom to the front door and released to that person for the day. Okay. If you have to do an early pickup for some reason, prior to 4 o'clock, you'll need to call the community center front desk upon your arrival. We will get the child checked out of the classroom, meet you at the front door, check ID, and release the child to you or whoever the individual is at that time. And there's directions there on how to do that and a number to call. As we mentioned, the City of Falls Church Public Schools has graciously offered to provide bus transportation. You were required to request that by Monday, this past Monday, by filling out a form. Those that did request it received an email today with the bus schedule listing the bus pickup locations and times. And also what will happen there is there is a staff member from the City of Falls Church Public Schools on the bus who will conduct a health check. There is a form that you will fill out rather than sign a waiver on spot because there's no ability to sanitize pens and things as we have at our center. You'll fill the form out at home prior to leaving. You need to accompany your child to the bus stop, regardless of age, regardless of grade. A child needs to have a parent guardian bring them to the bus stop with that form, turn the form into the staff member who will then still conduct that visual audible check. Again, signed document, they pass the check, they can get onto the bus. That's why if they do not have the right document, if they have a fever, don't pass the check, they will not be able to enter the bus, will need to be sent home. That's why there needs to be a parent guardian there. We can't send the child home without anyone. So please make sure you're there with them at the bus, practicing good social distancing, and they can board the bus with the proper health check. When boarding the bus, the first child on the bus will go to the back of the bus, next one moving forward, so on, so they do not pass each other when getting on the bus, and also when they exit the bus, it'll exit front to back, so there'll be no passing. Really keeping that social distancing. They'll be sitting every other seat on the bus, windows down when the weather is conducive to that. And the children will wear a mask on the bus. And then they'll get dropped off here again by 8:45 and plenty of time to go in, get themselves set up on the desk and everything of that nature. And at the end of the day, they'll be dismissed, get on the bus, and be dropped off at the bus stop. Children in kindergarten through second grade do need to have someone meet them at the bus stop to be released. Children in third grade and above can walk home on their own. I already went over the wellness check there. Again, if you fail the wellness check, you'll be sent home and asked to stay home until your symptoms have cleared. All right, class groups and classroom setup. So within our program, there are 3 subgroups. The one group is age kindergartners. The kindergartners are in group 1. Group 2 are first and second graders. And then the third group is grades 3 through 5. That is how they are grouped. Each group will have their own classroom in the community center. Our kindergartners will be using our preschool room. First and second grade will be using our senior center, and grades 3 through 5 will be using our teen center. Each classroom has its own sink where children can wash their hands when entering, exiting the room, or as needed. When we go, the only shared space will be restrooms, gym, when we use the gym, and outside space. When we're outdoors, we do plan on coordinating off separate spaces for them to eat their lunch, so they are not intermixing. The idea is that each group remains separate this way. If there is, unfortunately, an exposure of COVID within a group, it is limited to that group rather than throughout the whole program. That's why there is so much separation. High touch surfaces throughout the day, door handles, bathrooms, things that are cleaned regularly throughout the day, multiple times, and thoroughly overnight. Classrooms are cleaned overnight as well. When outdoors, we will have each group kind of have their own section in the park to eat their lunch, have their recess. We actually will not be using the playground. We cannot properly clean and sanitize the playground, so we will not use that. We will use the tennis court, the gym, and we'll rotate through, so only one group will be using that at a time. If we do have 2 groups using the gym, there is a divider that will come down to break it in half to create 2 separate spaces. Again, within each, we will try to be outside for lunch as much as possible. If we do have to eat indoors, children will eat at their desk space, at their seat. That will be the only time their mask will come off indoors is when they're eating. Outdoors, they can take the mask off, provided they are keeping it at social distance of 6 feet. Within each classroom, I mentioned, child will have their own desk space with their own supplies. The supplies, markers, scissors, things like that, pencils, pens, anything the class school teacher recommends, you should provide. We do have a few extras we can provide, but that is not something we want to do. We want you to provide your own. So the children will have a spot. We will provide a Ziploc bag they can keep their supplies in. For the younger children in kindergarten, we do have little cubbies in the classroom. They can keep their supplies there. Talk about the 6-foot tables. Children will be asked to regularly clean their own desk, wipe it down with a sanitizing wipe. Our staff will do a thorough cleaning overnight. Again, we understand social distancing is not an easy or natural thing. We'll do our best to keep children distant, but sometimes children get together. So that's why the mask wearing, the hand washing, the cleaning procedures in the small group setting is so important. So, if your child has not been wearing a mask regularly out and about in public, if you haven't really been out with them, or they don't wear it around family, try to get them to start doing that over the next couple of days to really get used to it as much as possible. It'll be very helpful. Again, equipment and supplies, parents are required to provide supplies for their children. They'll be kept at the child's desk, labeled and not shared. If we do things recreationally, crafts, arts and crafts, games, things like that we do have planned for recreational breaks and half days, we will provide those supplies, and each child will have their own. We'll discourage any sharing. If we do have to share anything, because we do limited quantities, we will sanitize it between uses. But again, as much supplies as you can provide your child is appreciated. Again, all staff and students are required to wear masks while inside the building. The only time masks will not be worn is when they're eating, if we have to eat indoors, or when they're outdoors and socially distant. Okay. Hand washing, frequently required to wash their hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds upon arrival to the classroom, when entering the classroom after lunch, before leaving the classroom to go to lunch, when coming back, after sharing items. Frequently is the idea, to wash hands. So there'll be a chance before they leave. Sticky classroom, if soap and water aren't available, we do have hand sanitizer that they can use as well. And again, we ask you to please help at home by reinforcing good hand washing hygiene. We will clean, again, high touch frequency, that right? High touch surfaces frequently. We will do that throughout the day, and then a thorough cleaning of the building overnight will take place as well, in conjunction with CDC and state regulations on cleaning. If a child becomes injured or ill while at the child, during the day, we will separate the child and attempt to contact the parent guardian. If we cannot reach the parent guardian, we will go through your emergency contacts as listed until we reach someone. Once contact has been reached, the child will need to be picked up. Okay. If a child is sick, please stay home. Children or staff are not allowed to attend for these, obviously having a fever, recurring vomiting or diarrhea, lice, contagious rashes, or other illnesses. Not just COVID, obviously COVID's the big one, but that doesn't preclude anything that may normally come up, chicken pox, head lice, pink eye, etc. If your child has any of these things, develops over the weekend maybe, please let us know. We need to take care of that and alert the proper authorities and also the other children in the class. And if you're sent home due to these things, we may require you, obviously you do have to stay home until you are no longer showing these symptoms. Depending on if they are COVID related, we may ask you to receive medical clearance before returning.
Excuse me. Meditation class W. Mary Van Deventer. Excuse me. Meditation class W. Mary Van Deventer.
Everyone okay there?
Yes.
All right. Okay. In the event of potential exposure to COVID-19, so if we believe the children in a group have been exposed to a suspected or confirmed case of COVID-19, we will alert the Department of Health, obviously the Department of Health, Human Services, and also the Fairfax County Health Department, and we'll follow their procedures. We will alert the parents in that group or the entire program, depending on how the exposure is possibly out there, and we'll go from there. If they say just that group needs to be removed from the program for 14 days, we'll do that. If the whole program is shut down, whatever the case is, we're going to follow the health department's guidance on that. But again, we'll notify you as soon as we are made aware of a possible exposure. So if you become aware that your child has been exposed or someone in your household has been exposed, please let us know ASAP so we can begin that process that we have to follow and get word out to everyone as soon as possible to try to limit that further exposure. If the program is delayed or canceled due to severe weather, power supply damage, or other foreseen circumstances, we'll notify you by telephone and email. We'll post on our social media as well. If we have to leave early for any reason, we again will get that word out to you via email and phone call as soon as possible. Electronics and valuable items, with the exception of a laptop for virtual learning, which you're required to bring, children should not bring any other electronics. So no iPhones, iPads, etc. If you need to reach your child, don't say, oh, I need to have the phone so I can call them. If you need to reach them, call the community center and we can get word to them. We can bring them over to the phone if you need to talk to them, etc. We are not responsible for lost, stolen, or damaged items. So again, anything that's expensive that is not required for their virtual learning, please do not send with them. Mentioned Fairfax Falls Church City public holidays. We are in days off, teacher work days. We are not operating the program. Just follow the FCCPS calendar there. Head lice. If you have suspected head lice, you are required to stay home and return only with the approval of a doctor. And again, please let us know if you have any indications so we can follow up on our end with the folks that we need to follow up with. Late pickup. You must pick up your child between 4 and 4:15 p.m. if they're not riding the bus. We do incur additional expenses for children who are picked up late. If you really are unable to get someone there to pick your child up by 4:15, please let us know. We do have staff that can stay with them for a little while longer, but this should be an extremely rare situation, exception, not the norm. If you are not here by 4:15, we are going to start calling parents, guardians, emergency contacts to get someone here to pick the child up. If we cannot contact a parent after pickup time, we are required by state regulation to contact the police for assistance and advice in locating parents. Again, we're not going to leave any children unattended. Don't worry about that, but we do need to reach out and contact the authorities after 1 hour. You'll keep a lost and found at the program. If your child loses something, please let us know. We'll look at the lost and found to see if we can locate it. Anything not claimed after 1 month will be donated to a charitable organization. To help make sure your child keeps their belongings together, please label them clearly with their name. Okay, your students are required to bring a peanut-free snack and lunch every day. This should be something that does not require refrigeration, does not require heating up. It needs to stay in a lunchbox. All lunch bags, boxes, and juice containers should be labeled with the child's name. We recommend you have a nutritious lunch. And again, please don't think that's going to spoil or in a glass container. Also, please send your child with a reusable water bottle every day. We do have water fountains with the bottle refiller, so they can refill the bottle as much as they need to. We prefer that over them using the water fountain due to the mouth close to the dispenser.
I don't know what happened.
Please list any child's allergies on the emergency form. Obviously, peanuts. Some of you have done that already. That's why we asked for they're so prevalent, the peanut allergy. We've asked for no peanut food. If there's anything beyond peanuts, please make sure you've listed those. Again, lunch will be eaten outside. We'll have time for snack. The snack may be eaten indoors, depending on probably most likely due to time, it will be eaten indoors. Mandated reporting. By law, all of our staff are considered mandated reporters. Any people that work with children report suspicious circumstances of suggested child maltreatment. So if we observe anything like that, our staff observes like that, they do have to report it and an investigation may follow. So please understand we're not insinuating anything when we report it, we're just following the law as we are required. Medication, we do require a request that you administer any necessary medications to your child prior to or after program hours. However, we understand that that's not always realistic due to the frequency medication needs to be taken. If your child needs to take medication during the 9 to 4 period, please follow those guidelines. Again, you need to provide us the medication in the original labeled container supplied by the pharmacist. You need to include written instructions concerning the administration and times and dosages, and the Department of Social Services medical authorization form must have been signed by a parent and physician and submitted to us with the other paperwork. If maybe you don't require medication at this time, but something happens over the course of the next 2 months where medication is needed to be taken, not an issue. Just you'll need to fill out that form. You can always ask for that form again if you need it and get it filled out. At the end of the program, we will return any leftover medication to you. Let's see, non-discrimination, that goes without saying. Security and building access. During this program, the building is closed to the public. Only your children in the program staff, and a few other recreation and parks department staff will be in the building and have access to the building. We do have security cameras in our entry, hallway, and egress locations. We communicate and coordinate continuously with the Falls Church city officials, including the police department, fire marshal, and emergency management, to make sure the building is secure and safe. We strongly suggest that a parent or guardian apply sunscreen and insect repellent, as we will be going outdoors, weather permitting. So it's still pretty sunny and warm here in September, October. The mosquitoes can get a little bit rough outside following rain, which, if I hear correctly, it's doing right now as we speak. We are not allowed to apply those things. Staff's not allowed to do that. So please do that at home before you come. If your child is comfortable and you feel comfortable with them reapplying, they certainly can do that throughout the day. You can send that with them as well. Please make sure your child's appropriately dressed for the weather. So just because it's a little chilly out doesn't mean we're not going to go outside. Chillier days, please make sure they have on some long sleeves or bring a jacket. Little rain, please make sure they have a rain gear. If it's a hot day, please make sure they're dressed in things that are more appropriate for warmer weather. Gym shoes are the best shoes. Closed-toed shoes are obviously preferred. Gym shoes are the best. It allows for safety to play indoors, outdoors, and keep their feet safe. All of your child may bring a blanket, yoga mat, if you'd like them to sit outside during lunchtime. They will need to sit on the ground. We do not have enough benches and seats for everyone, and with social distancing. So feel free to send a blanket or yoga mat for them to sit on when outdoors. We do ask that all items, so their laptop, headphones, charger, pens, pencils, markers, all that good stuff, their lunch, all should go into one bag. They're limited to one bag, one backpack per child. So everything in the backpack should be labeled, and the backpack itself should be labeled. Outside the classroom, there'll be little rubber dots placed. The child will place their book bag outdoors. The classroom not going to have they're not bringing it into the classroom. They'll just bring the things they need at their desk into the classroom. Then at lunchtime, they'll go out, get their lunch, go outside. So the bag will not come in the classroom, but it will be safe and secure in the hallway. All right, getting into some just things, behavior. Children are expected to behave in a proper and respectful manner. No hitting, name calling, foul language, destruction of property, or other behavior deemed inappropriate. I.e., we expect them to act in this program the way they would act in school. The things that don't go in school don't go in this program. Okay, I'm not going to read you the rules there. You can see the rules are listed there. For children must do these things. Please review these rules with your child prior to the first day. Let them understand what's expected. Please let them know that this is just like going to school. They're going to be, while it's not really a classroom, it is, and they need to conduct themselves accordingly. So if they're not following these rules, discipline may ensue. So please review this with your child at home. All discipline we have to handle will be constructive in nature. We're going to ask them to help express their feelings and frustrations, resolve the conflicts. Limits that are fair, consistently applied, and appropriate for the child's age will be used, and the child will be provided with reasons for the limits. Staff will redirect and use positive reinforcement. If disciplinary action is required at any time, we do fill out a report, and we will inform you at pickup. We'll show you the report, talk about what happened, what we did in response, answer any questions you might have, and if you'd like a copy of the report, you are certainly welcome to that. Same thing with any accidents that happen. If it's a major accident, obviously you'll be informed right away at the time of the incident. Head injuries, you'll be informed at the time of the incident. But if it's a small thing like a little bumped or scraped knee where a Band-Aid or ice pack was given, we do fill out an accident report. We'll share that accident report with you, share the information with you at pickup just so you can keep an eye on the injury. But anything more severe, we will contact you immediately. Reasons for removal from the program. Obviously, we're going to use the positive discipline, work with your child, but again, if they are continually violating it, we're continually having to work with them on disciplinary issues, we may ask them to leave the program. There are some certain things that are obviously immediate dismissal from the program, causing harm to themselves or others, violence, bringing weapons or drugs to the program. These things are immediate dismissal. But beyond that, it'll kind of be a 3 strikes and you're out, depending on the severity of the incident and also the number of times we have to work with them. Our staff's continually working with them on behavioral issues. It's not improving. We're dealing with the same issues over and over. This program may not be right for your child. And we'll work with you. Obviously, you'll be notified every step of the way, but understand that at some point, removal from the program may become necessary, and that will be without a refund. So that is a very high-level review of the program, a little more in-depth than what you maybe saw in the handbook or the policies and procedures. I know I saw the chat light up a few times. I don't know if Scarlett was answering those questions in real time or not. If not, we can certainly read through those questions and answer them now, or if there's any questions that were not answered, feel free to take yourself off mute, ask them, and we'll answer them as a group.
Just so you know, Ryan, I was answering them in real time.
Okay, great.
I think the last one, I had not gotten to Jeremy or George, these last 2, but yes.
Okay, great. So I'll just read the next 2 here.
Perfect.
So I think Jeremy asked, the program's extended past the first 8 weeks. Will the current attendees have a first chance in re-enrolling? I think our anticipation is yes, you would be given first opportunity. We would make an announcement that the program is extending through whatever date. We would probably give a period. I don't think it would be necessarily guaranteed the whole way through. We probably, let's say, a 2-week period or a 1-week period where you would have first opportunity to re-enroll. After that period, it would open up to the general public. So your spot would be guaranteed, but probably for a limited amount of time. Next question, George is asking, what will the afternoons on early release days look like? And also Natalie looks like she's asking the same thing. What are the programs like Monday through Friday, 1 through 4 for 3rd through 5th graders? So that is, well, we're going to really, our staff earns their keep, so to speak, with recreation experience. So that is, ideally, we're going to go outside during those times, recreate outside, have games, socially distant games that they can play, different activities, may do arts and crafts if the weather's not conducive, they have the gym. So it'll be strictly recreational programs. So games, arts and crafts, things like that. It'll be kind of up to the individual staff what they want to do that day. We're going to try to mix it up so it's not just the same thing all the time. So maybe if you go outside on Monday for most of the day, maybe Friday will be more arts and crafts based.
It will not be device oriented though. They've been on the computer long enough for the day. So we'll make sure that they're active and moving around.
Mm-hmm. And also the group will help determine that. So if the kids in the group really like a particular activity, they really want to do something, like if they enjoyed that activity, we'll try to do it again. But again, we will mix it up. Not every kid enjoys every activity. So just, and understand that, if Johnny didn't like what we did on Monday, doesn't mean we're going to do it again on Friday. We'll try to incorporate everyone's desires as well. So it'll vary, but the general answer is recreational programming. We'll try to keep it, fun and engaging and some kind of educational component as well. But, there is sometimes where it's alpha learning. They need a little break from learning as well. Melanie asked, any big lessons learned from the summer camp? Well, I think we learned that our safety procedures work pretty well. I mean, we were very fortunate to get through 9 weeks of camp with no COVID incidents or issues. So I think our checks in place were a good one. That's why we're continuing those with this program. We did learn that, social distancing is tough for younger kids. We were battling that regularly. We do our best to keep on top of it, but again, we can't keep them apart. Human nature is what it is. They'll migrate together occasionally. So that's when we need to make sure they're wearing their masks, and then we do separate them as best we can. We found some activities that work really well that they enjoy while social distancing, that we can play while social distancing. We'll, of course, incorporate those into our things as well. I'm seeing that we're getting a question about what happens if a hybrid occurs earlier than expected. We will take that as it comes. Obviously, we would probably discontinue the program at that time. A refund probably would be issued, but what we're hearing is we don't expect it happening anytime before October 30th. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. It also asks for a list of students and contact information for the other kids. Typically, that is not something we do. Unfortunately, that there's privacy issues and things like that. We would encourage your child to get the names of their friends, and they can certainly tell you, I met Johnny in class today or Susie, and you can try to hang out outside at pickup and meet those children's parents. That happened at camp a little bit. We had some parents who kind of hung out at pickup, and Johnny said, oh, that's my friend Bobby, and then the parents kind of met naturally and worked on play dates. So unfortunately, we cannot provide that information, but you're certainly welcome to, what's the word I'm looking for here? Network as you'd like with your child's classmates. Next question looks like it comes from Sun. How much help will first graders get with technology? You've had many times in the middle of live sessions when the kids doesn't know that there's an issue. Our staff will do their best to make sure they'll kind of walk around the room, make sure the child's on the computer platform supposed to be. If they look like something's not right, screen's frozen, they're not on the right screen, they'll try to help as they can. Obviously, they have the password and username that you've provided to us. But beyond that, you know, they're not computer whiz, they're not IT experts. So they'll battle it the best they can. They'll try to log in, log out, restart the computer. But again, beyond what you would probably do as a parent, there's not a whole lot more we can offer in terms of technical support, but we will kind of try to monitor. And again, if we see maybe they're on the same screen, the teacher's mouth's not moving, we'll kind of interject, say, hey, are you okay? What's going on with your computer? And help them relog in if we need to. I'm not quite sure what you mean on breakout session on Schoology. So if you want to take yourself off mute and try to explain it to me a little bit better or type it further up, please feel free. Unless Scarlett, do you think you might have a...
Hi, can you hear me? Okay, great. So breakout session is like a small group session where the teacher invites like 5 kids or something, and they actually have to click on a link to go into the breakout session, and if they don't do it, they can't get in, and it has to be within a certain period of time.
Okay, so to answer your question, hopefully that's identified on their school's schedule you provided us. If we see they're supposed to be in a breakout session on their schedule, we'll go around at that time, make sure they're in the breakout session in a timely manner. If we don't know they're supposed to be in a breakout session, we may not be able to help them. So hopefully that is on their schedule. If it's not, any way you can communicate to that, us an email, say, hey, they're changing their schedule. Here's an updated schedule. Let us know so we can kind of monitor that the best we can. Let's see. Options for flexible seating for young kids. In terms of flexible seating, if you mean changing seats, we will experiment with that. Yeah, I did say they'd have the same seats throughout the program. If we do have to change seats, we will. Primarily, we probably would do that day to day rather than throughout the day because there is a cleaning thing that we want it to be clean, things like that nature. So if, you know, Susie and Jimmy aren't working together at the same table real well, or there's an issue there, we may move them the next day around. But I don't think throughout the day they'll move much. Day to day, where if we see that it may work out better a different way. Yes.
So Ryan, also there's a lot of classes right now. I think they're talking about flexible seating. They can move around the room, sit on the ground to do work, lay out underneath a table, things like they're talking more. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. Who was it? Elizabeth. But I think that's what they're looking more for.
Okay.
So
well, I don't know that we would provide that necessarily because we do, you know, the cleaning, the shared space, so we probably want to keep them at their assigned seat as much as possible during the learning part. Okay, looks like we have a question about assessment testing. Yes, so if there's we definitely, any change in their schedule, we want to know about that. So please email us, bring a copy of the schedule when you drop them off. Let us know so we can make sure we're following the proper schedule for your child for that day.
And we do understand that the first 2 weeks are very different than the rest of the school year is going to be. I know in afternoons they're going to have, or some, depending on the grade, we'll have guided reading groups where children are required to log back on at certain times, or in the afternoons with RTI, remediation and intervention. So it's really important for parents, because we won't know unless you inform us, that once they start doing guided reading groups and RTI, to please let us know when your child's scheduled to be on.
It looks like we're getting it. If you have notes for the counselors for work they have done or clarifications of something, best way to send that is either via email, or you can certainly at drop off, one of the counselors is checking your child and you can just have a conversation there at drop off as well. But sure, feel free to send any notes via email, written notes, whatever works for you. But you can also, well, we don't want you coming into the building due to social distancing and limiting the exposure in the building. Our staff can certainly meet you outside and have a conversation with you about anything you'd like to. It looks like Elizabeth's saying the breakouts are not scheduled, so they're just kind of random throughout the day that may occur naturally. Elizabeth, we'll do the best we can. We'll kind of walk around. If we see there's a link in the chat they should be clicking on, we're going to kind of say, hey, you clicked on there, should you be in there? But again, if we don't know, it's kind of hard. So, and I understand you may not know, the students may not know. We'll do the best we can with that. It looks like for kindergarten they are, so it may vary by grade. you said, what rooms will the Fairfax County Public School reps be in? We're getting 3 reps a day, and there'll be 1 rep in each classroom. So each room will be structured with 2 of our rec staff and 1 City of Falls Church staff. And they are not, I want to point out, these are what we would call auxiliary staff. They're not teachers or teachers' aides. They serve other purposes in the school that just aren't being utilized right now. Primarily, I think we are receiving folks that normally help out with the busing. They want to keep those folks employed, so they're helping out, kind of just be another set of eyes in the room. So I want to just kind of clarify that. Okay, I think I caught up on all the chat questions. Anybody have anything else? Feel free to type it in or take yourself off mute. We're happy to answer any questions you might have. And Scarlett, if I forgot anything, chime in, cover me. So we have a tech question. Can our Wi-Fi handle all devices? Our IT department has told us the answer to that question is yes. We are not IT experts, but our IT staff has told us the internet we have can't handle it. If we're seeing connectivity issues, we'll call our IT department in. They'll come over and do what they have to do. And if it's a problem beyond that, we'll cross bridge when we come to it. But I'm pretty confident we're in a good situation with the Wi-Fi. Yeah, everyone should be connected. That's why we do want them to come in by 8:45 every day so they can get connected. If there's any problems, we can try to get those solved before the 9 o'clock start to the school day. If you want to get there a little earlier on the first day, no problem, but please no earlier than 8:30. We have staff coming that doesn't come much earlier than that because they have limited hours they can work as well due to work hours. So we want them to be able to get ready, get themselves out to get the classroom ready. So no earlier than 8:30, but feel free to come as early as 8:30 if you'd like. All right. If any more questions come in, we will try to get, obviously you all have received an electronic copy of the handbook. We'll try to get that posted up to the Rec Connect webpage on our website as well, along with the policies and procedures. And I have recorded this presentation. We'll post a link to this presentation, which will probably be via YouTube as well over the next couple of days. You can always refer back if you need to. And again, if you think of anything, you can always email Scarlett or I, call us, email us. We're happy to answer any questions. The best email to contact, if you look in your handbook, Son, towards the first or second page under the administrative staff section, my email and Scarlett's email are listed there along with our deputy director. Those are probably the best emails to send to. You can also always email recreation@fallschurchva.gov, and that will work its way to us as well. But directly to me or Scarlett is obviously your best first line of contact. If it's something more specific to your child's staff counselor, we can forward it on to them and have them respond to you. But Scarlett and I is a good place to start. Again, I want to reiterate, folks, this is uncharted territory for all of us. And I think as we've kind of heard a little bit from our school contacts and some parents as well, the first week and a half here has been ever changing in some ways, stabilizing a bit. And that's sort of why we put this program off 2 weeks to try to allow that to happen, let your children get familiar. But we know things are probably still going to be changing next week and for the first couple of weeks. So we're going to adapt and be flexible. Hope you do the same. And as a unit, parents, staff, kids, we'll get through it together to provide the best experience. So we do thank you. We're happy to be able to offer this program, but we'll cross the hurdles together, folks. We do look forward to seeing everyone on Tuesday morning as well. So again, if there's no other questions, we'll let you have your evenings back. And again, in the meantime, feel free to call or email with anything you may think of after the presentation. Have a good evening.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, it's just staff.
You guys just